Our guest today is Nelson Santos, the mayor of Kingsville. Nelson, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
First question is always, how are you and your family doing during this time?
I think every day is a new adventure for us here at the Santos home, given school's out of session. So I've got 2 JK lessons that I teach every day, and I've got a grade 6 student who misses her friends immensely and would like to go back to school.
Yeah, that's you got a new profession afterwards, I think. How has COVID-19 affected you and the town's operation?
For us, the impact has been pretty immediate in terms of how we no longer just have open doors at the town hall when we look at having to provide for the safety, security of not just our staff, but even residents looking to do just the regular business in our community. So early on in the process, even before the decisions of who was essential and non-essential, our municipality was making moves and changes in our operations, from what's open, what are we going to leave available, how accessible are we going to be? And we went through a process of different steps where we allowed public access for a few days. And then as we kept hearing more and more concerns, we basically closed off access for basically appointment only for our facility at the town hall. We then proceeded to start closing some of our parks facilities in advance of the provincial mandate. So we started to tape off our playgrounds. We started to close off some of our amenities that were common places for people to go to, popular places. And it was a pretty tough decision to start to do that. But in light of the risks that were there, the decision was certainly made a lot easier for all of us, and has been pretty well respected by our community. So a lot of our services right off the get-go have certainly changed and transitioned, but it just made for responding to water breaks or main breaks a little bit more challenging because we still need to be there. We still need to provide the services to the residents right to their door. So from water and maintaining the deliveries and the pickups from garbage and yard waste, this is the season where everything is happening. So we've certainly seen some adjustments in many different ways, but we're making do. Right now, we are obviously feeling the pressure of the change of season. So we're seeing a lot more activity and interest and peaks to try to provide some access to some facilities. And mostly because we're a waterfront community, we look at our public boat ramp and then the launch that we've had to close as part of the process right now. So we're keenly optimistic and in conversation with our province and ministries to wonder to what level would we be able to start to open our amenities in some form of strategy.
How are you and council handling the council meetings during the whole social distancing?
Yeah, well, I think it gives new meaning to that new age. When we talked about technology and then certainly catching up, it's certainly something new. We've adapted our procedural bylaw to include electronic meetings, and we've held a couple meetings through Zoom technology. We tried to introduce WebEx for a process that we already had within our municipal structure. But again, the technology bandwidth, we start to learn all more and more how important broadband and high-speed internet and connectivity is in our region, and certainly the use of Zoom and WebEx and obviously Skype like this in terms of connecting and still communicating to do business. These are all high-profile items that are certainly coming to the forefront. But yeah, we look at like a Brady Bunch family on screen when we do our WebEx or mostly of our Zoom meetings at this point, and it's pretty interesting trying to keep track of the voting and who's got their hand up for questions. It's a different procedure, and we're live streaming it, so it's like live television. You never know what you're going to get.
Tell us about your bylaw officers and some of their new duties.
Yes, that was a big step in terms of trying to support the provincial mandate and certainly continue to keep up with the concerns being raised in our community. Our bylaw officers have stepped in to help enforce and educate residents that may not be maintaining the social distancing, the physical distancing requirements, again for the betterment of safety, or for those that are going into public places with groups of more than 5 people. Basically basically not adhering to the public calls to avoid non-essential trips. So they've been responding pretty regularly, consistently to call-ins, to emails. We put a hotline and submission form on our website to help residents also, file complaints or bring attention to us so that we can respond. We've shifted their hours. It's not Monday to Friday anymore. We've got the bylaw officers out there working weekends, again, trying to address the significant concerns and maintain the health and safety of our community.
How has COVID-19 and its uncertainty affected, the festivals and all the great recreation out in Kingsville?
Certainly our municipality, our county is well known for its tourism sector, and Kingsville is one that we're very proud to always host a number of community festivals based on heritage and music and certainly culture. To date, we've already seen the cancellation of some very significant events for us. The Highland Games, the successful return of Highland Games last year is being postponed this year, so we won't see the games and the kilts in our region until 2021. We've just seen the cancellation of our folk music festival. Again, the annual festival that brings thousands of residents and visitors into our community to enjoy, obviously the music and the storytelling that comes with it. We're really going to miss that this summer. It's going to seem a little bit quieter for us, and that in itself is a big challenge when we, really enjoy promoting, obviously, the climate we're in and the ability to bring our community together for special events. So we're going to be trying to see how much further we can go without having to make cancellations. But unfortunately, this seems to be a year of one to ensure we take the appropriate steps before any new festival does come in for this year.
COVID-19 is here, and now there's also the risk of flooding happening. How are you preparing for this?
Yeah, that was all in part and parcel of our strategy early on when the municipality declared a state of emergency for Kingsville. Not only was it because of COVID-19, but also because of the increased lake levels that we're seeing. Recognizing the Conservation Authority, ERCA has already identified a long-standing flood watch for our region, and mostly because the lake levels on Lake Erie are already close to 1.5 feet, if not higher than their levels of last year already, and that was just back in March and April. So we're identifying significant concerns and risks because of obviously the changing winds and the shifts that they present to us in Kingsville specifically for flooded out areas along our Heritage Road sector. So we have initially established a sandbag program for those residents affected in that immediate area geographically. We're providing up to 100 sandbags per resident in that area. We're dropping them off to their doorstep, again, at no cost. We've created a sand collection pile near our boat launch at Cedar Island Park, and there the residents can fill their sandbags safely and hopefully maintaining the social distancing that we still recommend. And then just recently we've also put together a emergency relief fund in our budget to allow for us to continue to fund this project or any other initiatives that may arise in dealing with the flood response.
So if someone would like to have sandbags delivered to them, you said, where can they call, or is there a website? Or?
Yes, absolutely. They can go to www.kingsville.ca website, look up, contact us, and there are abilities to send us an email through kingsvilleworks.ca email, kingsvilleworks@kingsville.ca email, and we will communicate back to you with a time for drop off and everything too for them. So even just calling the town hall, we still have staff that answer the calls there, and you can make a request, verbally over the phone.
Can you tell us about the Kingsville alert system?
Yes, so that's an ever-evolving system that we're trying to expand our database, and what it does is basically a listing and database of all of our residents and properties of how we can reach them in the event of emergencies or special announcements in terms of health and safety. We've utilized the system to date to help identify and notify actually residents in specific geographic areas. We can map where we have a concern and provide messages directly direct to their numbers, to their emails, whatever's in our database, to have a response to them in the event of an emergency for sure. We certainly encourage residents who may not have already, pre-registered or signed on to Kingsville Alerts. You can do it pretty easily online. We have that access direct on our website so that it can be done. Ensure that the contact information we have is accurate and correct. Make sure your address is right and your phone numbers that are best for us to reach the residents is in there so that we can better communicate on many different fronts.
And just once again, the website is?
Yes, so www.kingsville.ca.
Excellent. So last question, as always, what are you looking forward to once this pandemic is over?
Wow, I'm hoping I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, because it has certainly been a changing and trying times for all of us in our community. What I'm looking forward to the most, I think, is now that I'm going to have hopefully some time away from the municipal office there to be able to work at the yard. I'm going to be looking forward to watching my grass grow. It's that time of year. It's that season. Can't wait to put the new seed down and just watch it grow.
Very good. Well, thanks, Nelson. I really appreciate it. And please just stay well and stay safe.
Okay, thank you. You as well.
Thank you. That was Nelson Santos, Mayor of Kingsville.